Hello everyone, this is Admiral Prince Eric here and welcome back to my channel. So, in today's video, we're going to be discuss about the patch notes on the update 40.6. Okay, now the last time from yesterday, I was delayed for a moment I was very busy for the while because of the Pokemon Masters EX. And now, the recently from yesterday though on World of Warships was finally acquired this top tier American destroyer Forest Sherman. Historically, she's the lead ship of the Forest Sherman class destroyers that entered service in the Cold War years. And she was named after the US Admiral Forest Sherman. Okay, so we're gonna dive deep in right up to it. So please, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So let's get up to this on the full discussions and read up my details. Okay, the update 14.6, the new American destroyers in the year 2025. Okay, this is going to be an early access of the second line of the American destroyers starting from Tier 6 Farragut. Okay, before we dive deep into it, so let's just heads on for the details. Captains, due to installation of this update, the server will be unavailable on July 10th on Thursday at 3 hours time duration. Okay, thank you for the giving articles a read. By the way, thanks for the claiming for the one day of Warships premium account on us. You can claim your gift before on August 4 at 9 p.m. before the update 14.7 goes live. So don't forget to claim on it. Alright, let's get started for these new topics. Okay, so the first one is the early access to American destroyers. It began on July 17 at 3 a.m. until on September 4 at the same time, with the release the update 14.8. Four new ships, Hodges, Osborne, Christopher, and Boros are sailing into early access. Well, most notably about the American destroyers otherwise, which is going to be our focus for the main battery. But a new feature comes out to this is a variant of the smoke generator. So I'm gonna discuss right into it. But in the historical ship though is the only one for this American destroyer Tech 3 line is a Hodges. She is the member of the Sims class destroyer. Like the Sims is a tier 7 premium destroyer in the game. But on the others like the tier 8, 9 and 10 are basically on the drawback projects before, during and after the Second World War on the United States participation of the war, but mostly on these designs of the famously the Fletcher class, Allen and Summer class, as well as the Gilling class destroyers, so on. Alright, let's get dive deep into it. The main distinguishing new features of these destroyers is unusual smoke generator with a limited total usage time instead of the individual charges. It will allow you to use smoke more flexibility. For example, for offensive actions or to retreat from unfavorable engagements, but with a certain limitations. The new Brave Gunslingers boast high damage per minute with both HE and SAP shells. Okay, these upcoming American destroyers on early access though featuring these SAP shells. Both ammunition though is going to be a similarities of the Italian destroyers of the Tech Tree, as well as the Forest Sherman. Starting from Tier 8 Farragut, you will be met up a Tier 7 American destroyer Hodges. Is armed with 127mm main battery guns, and from Tier 8, these destroyers are armed with 137mm artillery. Destroyers of the line have large HP pools, but poor concealment and a small number of torpedo tubes. In addition to these gunslinging ships, we prepared two Wild West team skins. The Wanted Permanent Camouflage for top tier Boros, and the Righteous Permanent Camouflage for Tier 9 Christopher. Please note that sequential bundles containing the new American destroyers and other rewards will become available in the second week of update 14.6. To purchase the bundles, you need American tokens. Activities that can reward you with these tokens will be available from the release of this update. Please know that the top tier bottles will be available at the end of sequential bundle chains for only doubloons. So personally, I will not go up ahead the gambling most of the time. Now, for personal challenges, we're bringing back personal challenges as part of early access. They will be available for the duration of update 14.6, but split into 2-week sprints. You need to earn base XP to complete both of these tasks. Okay, so and by the way, after the early access goes on, the American Destroyers goes on leave, the full release of the American Destroyers will be held on the update 14.8. So stay tuned for that in a moment. But as always though, there will be an upcoming first impression for the top tier American Destroyer bottles in this personal task. So stay tuned for that in the upcoming future times. But I will personally in the next update 14.7 though, that I will going to get a top tier Dockyard Event, the historical ship Laffey. So I will talk about this in the near future for the upcoming updates. Okay, now the American Destroyers Event Pass, which is take place on July 10 at 3 a.m. until on August 7 at 3 a.m. To celebrate the arrival of these four beauties, we prepared an American themed event pass. To further celebrate the arrival of these four beauties, we prepared an American themed event pass. You also find content related to other nations. The first progression line includes 400 American tokens, a 3 days of Warships premium account, 2 times French Squadron container, and Gold Navy permanent camouflage for Tier 8 Cleveland as a final reward. Please note that the contents of the French Squadron container have been updated, and there is now the chance to obtain a French premium battleship Champagne from it. If you want more, unlock the second progression line for 2.5 thousand doubloons. You can then advance through its levels either by completing combat missions or spending 750 doubloons for each. As a bonus, you immediately receive the West Virginia permanent camouflage for Tier 6 American premium battleship West Virginia 41. Progress further and you can attain the West Virginia 41 herself, as well as a 4 times French Squadron containers, 1 time journey to the West Premium container, and the French Navy permanent camouflage for Tier 8 Laffey task. So here are the full list of event pass rewards. So the first progression line rewards, which is going to be another set of these rewards. For the second progression line to be obtained for the unlock for the using doubloons. For completing extra levels of the first and second lines, you receive a 1-time more signals container and 1-time rare bonuses container for each level respectively. Now, as you already acquired on these ships on either the permanent camouflage door as well as the premium ships of that door, you receive a compensation as follows: 4.5 million credits for the Gold Navy permanent camouflage for Cleveland Tier 8. 4.5 million credits for the West Virginia permanent camouflage for West Virginia 41. 6 million credits for the French Navy permanent camouflage for Laffey task, as well as 10.5 million credits for West Virginia 41. The next one, the final update to time limited mechanics. Operations with flagships and experimental ships are still on track. In this update though will be the last for the time limited mechanics introduced in update 14.2, operations with flagships and experimental ships. But you can still enjoy them until release the next update though, when both features will be removed from the game. On top of that, we invite you to participate in 2 thematic leaderboards, where your skills and battle performance can earn you valuable rewards. If you fully unlock the first and or second group of experimental ships, you see a commemorative reward separately for each group. Now, for the experimental ships leaderboard that's starting on July 10 at 4 a.m. until on July 17 at 3 a.m. If you unlock Varese from the second group of experimental ships, enter random battles at her helm during the first week of the update. Try to deal as much total damage as soon as possible in a single battle, and you'll be able to compete for rewards like famous destroyer Johnston. To participate in the leaderboard, you need to fight at least 1 random battle and deal damage with the using of the ship. The rewards for the leaderboard are as follows. From 1 to 25 plays, you will get a Johnston, a Tier 9 American destroyer, and a notable member of the Fletcher class destroyer. From 26 to 50 plays, you get 30,000 coal. 51 to 100 plays, you get a 10,000 coal. And some participation though, you will be get a 40,000 elite commander XP. Please note, the rewards are not cumulative. You will only receive the reward that corresponds to your highest position on the leaderboard. But if you already own Johnstone into your account store, you receive a 5,000 steel as compensation instead of the ship. The next part is operations with Flagships leaderboard. It starts from the last day of July at 3 a.m. until on August 7 at the same time. During the final week of update 14.6, take on the Flagships and their fleets one more time and deal as much damage as you can. If you rank among the top 100 players by cumulative total damage, you will be rewarded with coal. From 1 to 100 plays, you will get up 20,000 coal. You can classify documents to increase your ship's battle performance and operations with Flagships, and with the release of update 14.6, you can upgrade them to level 11, the maximum efficiency. Use them wisely to increase your chances against the Flagships and reach for higher positions on the leaderboard. Okay, one of the features of the update 14.6 is mostly for the graphics update. Meet our new anti-aliasing and image reconstruction technology. Okay, according to the FAQ in the update 14.6, some graphics changes. WG Temporal Super Sampling, known as TSS, is designed to make visuals in the game clearer and more stable, as well as reduce jaggedness, all without significantly compromising performance. You may be able to see the following effects by implementing TSS as follows. Smooth edges and reduced aliasing that rival the visual quality of SSAA 8 times. Sharper details and higher definition, preserving the fine element of ships and environments. Fireless flickering on ship structures and water reflections. Improved visual stability even during intense movement or dynamic lighting scenes. Minimize ghosting and visual artifacts, ensuring clean and crisp motion. To activate TSS, you go to the graphics settings and enable it in the anti-aliasing mode option. You'd still use a simple temporal anti-aliasing filter, but it's no longer part of the default settings. Okay, so here's gonna be the illustration though that was simply good for that. The graphics updates and the evolution of the game is simply fast enough. So I would like to take something recommended parts to do so, like the computer parts, you know, especially gotta needs to do for the better performance of the game. Okay, the next one, the content Rarity System. Now in this update though, we regularly add a variety of new content to the game, and until now, the user interface hasn't clearly conveyed the level of effort or exclusivity tied to different types of content. To address this issue, we're introducing a Rarity System design to reflect how much effort is needed to obtain certain content and whether it's intended to be widely accessible or highly exclusive. Here are the main principles by which this system works. Rarity is displayed only in the port, represented by color and text. A filter in the port will let you sort ships by rarity. The current iteration of this system covers ships, camouflages, and enemy destruction effects. In the future, similar classifications will be applied to other content. The Rarity System reflects the intended level of effort or investment needed to acquire particular content and if it's intended to be widely available or highly exclusive. There are 5 levels of rarity: common, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. With each subsequent level, the required effort increases while the frequency of content availability decreases. For example, Tier 1 to 10 Tech 3 ships are considered common because they are constantly available and can be obtained simply by playing the game. On the other hand though, ultra exclusive content that requires outstanding effort to obtain is marked as legendary. For example though is the Kitakami is for one example. In line with Rarity Systems, we standardize prices for direct sales to make the pricing in the game more transparent and consistent. So basically this is going to be a new feature in the Water Warships for the update 14.6. So it's going to be the show up for the Rarity this time. Looks pretty awesome, huh? Okay, now for the ship rotation. It starts on July 10 at 3 a.m. This new system will make it easier to navigate the armory and premium shop, as well as to assess available premium ships. Over the years, the armory and premium shop have become overcrowded with ships, making it difficult to navigate and assess available options. We are addressing this issue with the new ship rotation system update 14.6. The most popular ships will remain available in both stores, while the rest are divided into 4 groups, with 2 groups at a time always being available. When a group becomes available, it will continue to be sold for 6 updates. To keep things fresh and provide opportunities for captains to acquire new content regularly, individual group availability will be staggered, with a new group rotating in every 3 updates. Some rotations will be announced in advance. As part of the new rotation, some previously released ships will eventually return. Now, in this update, the following ships will become available for doubloons: Brisbane, Almirante Grau, Numancia, and Nottingham, as well as Nottingham will also become available for coal. You can learn more about the ship rotation in our development blog and dedicated article for that as follows, link in the description below. Now, one of the most important assets of the update 14.6 is the container barge improvements. Get ready to enjoy more flexibility and transparency in your interactions with containers. We continue to work on enhancing the World of Warships user interface, and in this update though introduces several improvements to give you more flexibility and transparency in your interactions with containers. We redesigned the container screen to display all of your containers immediately, eliminating the need to switch to a different screen. We increased the options for how many containers can be opened simultaneously to help prevent accidental mass openings. We also added a confirmation window. You can now switch off barge animations like the elevator bringing up containers to speed up the process and get your rewards faster. We updated the container interface to display the drop chances and reward breakdown for each container type, similar to how they are shown in the armory. For containers with guaranteed drop mechanics, you see a counter showing how many containers remain until you receive a guaranteed reward. For rewards obtained from containers, we added visual prioritization based on their value. More valuable rewards will be displayed on the top and with larger icons. So basically the container section though is very good for that in this update. I would like to inform about this. Now, the Unbreakable Line battles are raging. Since the update 14.5 takes the rerun of the Unbreakable Line battle store, the mode will be available on update 14.6 until on August 7 at 3 a.m. A battle type that lets you quickly return to the action if your ship slips under the waves. Unbreakable Line, a battle line that lets you quickly return to the battle if your ship is sunk, is still available on this update. The rules remain mostly the same as in the previous iteration. The main change is that this time, you can sail for top tier 9 and 10 ships, for only cruisers, battleships, and destroyers into the action. Okay, the next one, the ranked battles. A new season kickstarts right now for the ranked battles will begin on the update 14.6, season 24. It starts on July 10 at 10 a.m. until on September 4 at 1 a.m. on the update 14.8 release before. For the Bronze League will be playing 6 vs 6 tier 7 and 8 ships. There will be no more than 1 submarine, 1 aircraft carrier, 3 battleships, 2 destroyers, and 5 cruisers. For the Silver League will be the same format, this time though is tier 9 and 10 ships. No more than 1 submarine, 1 aircraft carrier, 3 battleships, 2 destroyers, and 5 cruisers. And for the top and the Gold League though, the battles will eventually be the same. And no more than 1 submarine, 1 aircraft carrier, 3 battleships, 2 destroyers, and 5 cruisers. Now, in this season though, the rule for keeping a star in the event of a loss is the same for all leagues. Only the top base XP earners of the losing team keeps a star. Now, for the brawls on the update 14.6, I'm finding that coming. The first brawl begins next week. It will take place on July 14 until July 21. The first round of brawls takes on the tier 8 ships 4 vs 4. There will be no more than 1 submarine, 2 battleships, 3 cruisers, or 3 destroyers per team. No aircraft carriers, and divisions are allowed for 4 players. The second Brawl Tour starts on July 21, will be a 4 versus 4 Tier 9 ships. There will be no more than 3 battleships, 4 cruisers, or 3 destroyers per team. Divisions are allowed up to 4 players. The final round of brawls on up to 40.6 takes on the top tier ships 2 versus 2 only. There will be no more than 1 battleship, 1 cruiser, or 1 destroyer per team. This time, however, it's going to be no aircraft carriers or submarines. Divisions are allowed for up to 2 players. Alright, the next one, the Blue Archive second wave. We got a new collaboration is now underway between World of Warships and the Blue Archive. 4 new ships and 4 new commanders with individual voiceovers are ready to sail out. It began on July 10 at 4 a.m. until on August 7, 3 a.m. World of Warships welcomes back the charming students of Kivotos, as well as their ships, which are as deadly as they cute. The second wave of our collaboration with the Bright World of Blue Archive also brings a new contents. 4 new ships, each bearing a commemorative flag, be a Bina, be a Utnam Pishtim ship, be a hovercraft, and be a Arona's whale are ready to set sail. To lead them into battle, we have 4 new commanders with individual voiceovers. Arona, Konuri Maki, Hayase Yuka, and Kosaka Wakamo. As the final touch, you can also spruce up your ships with the new Blue Archive permanent camouflage. The more information will be available in a separate article, so make sure for that, check it out. Now, for recruiting station changes are as follows. All shipmates who have been inactive for 90 plus days will be disconnected from the recruiting station system. With the latest update 14.6 store, all recruiting station containers will be removed from the armory, but they will remain available via the recruiting station store. Additionally, from now on, this store will offer a special monthly bundle, recruiting supplies. Available once per account, per update, this container features rotating content. For update 14.6, you can get it for 1000 community tokens to receive 5000 free XP. Check back regularly for more. It is important for that though, on update 14.8, all shipmates who have been inactive for 90 plus days will be disconnected from the recruiting station system. If you don't want to lose your shipmates, give them a nudge and remind them not to be a stranger. Don't worry too much though, if they get removed, you can always re-invite them later. There are more changes to come into recruiting station in the upcoming updates, and we'll share more details in the dedicated publication. The next one, more content, the content additions and changes for the update 14.6 as follows. The Commander La Mariade with the individual voiceover, the Grand Trial Summer Pace and Grand Trial Champion patches, Strike Hard Grand Trial, Summer Pace, Grand Trial Champion, and Alien Web flags. A new core mission chain for experimentations has been added. It will be available during update for 14.6. Some ships that are coming for super testing based on for the community contributors and volunteers. Now, for the most exciting part though is going to be a German Mitz Cruiser Tech 3 line, which is going to be a work in progress session. Starting for Tier 5 German Light Cruiser Königsberg, it will be made up a Deutschland class cruiser. Famously though is Admiral Reinhardt. Next one, the Admiral Skier. The next one, the Nessebeck, is a P class cruiser. The last of them will be the Manteuffel and Prince Adalbert, are based on the Admiral Schroeder. The next one is the Japanese heavy cruiser Kushiro, and the upcoming super battleship goes to Italian Navy, Affondatore, were added for testing by developers, volunteers, and community contributors. And now for some other changes on the list that I will not going to read this entirely. So be sure to check it out. For the complete list of changes though, please refer to player support. Okay guys, so if you have the questions of the patch notes on update 14.7, please leave please leave the comments down below. So our next topic will be right on the way. Okay, so I have a situation right now on the upcoming close test 14.7 so far, but this time around goes from a few hours ago. Something goes are very important for this. Now, I will gonna read this entirely for a few explanations. Now, on close test 14.7, aircraft carrier changes and survivability improvements was posted about at 1600 hours. Usually though it's gonna be uh, 4, usually gotta be a 7, 8 or 9 something, I don't know. Now, in update 14.7 is one of the steps in larger changes of aircraft carriers and related aviation mechanics, which is focused on resolving core issues. Our testing and fine-tuning are ongoing to ensure we deliver an improved gameplay experience. However, while many changes are still in development, we would like to implement some of the already prepared tweaks, quality of life features, and improvements of the light servers now before the next close testing. Look out for additional dev blogs later this summer diving deeper into further changes currently in development. Now, for changes to aircraft carriers and aviation. A key goal of this update is to optimize aerial spotting and visibility mechanics, making them more intuitive and consistent across various gameplay scenarios. Some changes are made for that though. On fire detectability, reduced ships on fire will now have their area detectability increased by 2 kilometers, down from 3 kilometers, making it the same as surface detectability increase on fire. The Unified Aircraft Spotting Range, a standard detectability range of 10 kilometers, has been applied to all player control and non-player controlled aircraft. And next one is area detectability penalty for firing removed. Firing main battery guns no longer increases a ship's area detectability. All aircraft carriers with secondary batteries will now feature manual control secondaries, adding an extra layer of defensive capability. They will use the same system introduced with German mixed cruisers in the Tech 3 line, meaning on that follow. Secondaries on a manual control will receive adjustments to range, accuracy, and reload parameters. Players will maintain the ability to designate specific targets for the carrier's secondaries while not under manual control. Some carriers will now have their base and manual secondary ranges standardized, similar to surface ships. These ranges scale with tier and secondary battery type. For most of these tier, there will be a base secondary range though is gonna be the 4.5 to 8 kilometers. For the top tier though, it's gonna be increases for secondary builds, but mostly for that is for the Germans. The Germans are doing something a capability of the secondary build, especially the focuses of the squadron. Plus, an improved are the secondary battery type which have better range parameters than the standard, but are inferior to more signature ones based on German and French ships. An existing example of this is Shinano, which might be joined by more ships in the future. To ensure balanced performance, many carriers will receive adjustments to base secondary battery reload times and shell ballistics. These changes are aimed at improving DPM consistency and enabling comfortable use even at longer engagement ranges, especially when fully built for secondaries. Some carrier balancing changes on the following as follows. Now, for Langley Thor, the secondary battery reload time is about 2.5 seconds. Hoshio Thor is about the reload time is 3 seconds. For Hermes, ballistics on 102mm secondary battery shells change, they will become slightly flatter. So if you wanted to check it out in the latest step blocks though, link in the description below to see on what is content. The next one, UI improvements for secondary battery ornament. Enhancements to import and in-battle tooltips further improved experience of manually controlled secondaries. For ships equipped with secondary ornaments of multiple calibers, tooltips will now display a unified segment showing common parameters such as secondary range in both automatic and manual fighting modes, making it easier for players to assess performance at a glance. For ships with only a single secondary battery caliber, these stats will still appear in the stylized section alongside other weapons characteristics. The next one, fire and damage control changes. Aircraft carriers will now experience more damaging and longer lasting fires, making sustained artillery engagements riskier. However, an improved damage control party will balance these adjustments. The fire duration increased from 5 to 45 seconds, fire damage per second reduced from 1 to 0.3%, and for some damage control party consumables being updated, the duration decreases to 30 seconds and the cooldown decreases to 70 seconds. These changes are designed to increase strategic impact of fire when playing against or as a carrier. Last but not least, survivability improvements against aerial and acoustic torpedoes. Survivability mechanics for all ships are also receiving a notable adjustment, as the mechanics of damage application on airborne and acoustic torpedoes have been changed. Currently, a torpedo may deal damage in two different ways depending on the area it hits. Okay, how the damage application works now. Number 1. If it hits the bow, stern, or any other part of the ship that is not covered by torpedo protection armor, a significant part of the damage dealt can be healed back by the use of repair party consumable. The exact percentage can be healed back varies, but it's generally about 50%. Number 2. If a torpedo hits the torpedo protection armor, all damage that is ultimately dealt to the ship is considered damage to the citadel. In that case, a significantly lesser portion of the damage dealt can be healed back. Once again, the exact values vary, but the average is around 10%. Now, starting with update 14.7, airborne and acoustic torpedoes will never be able to deal citadel damage. If one of such torpedoes hit the torpedo belt of the ship, she will not only get the damage reduction provided by this armor, but also retain the same hitting ability as if the torpedo would hit an unprotected part of the cruiser. Basically, ships damaged by acoustic and aerial torpedoes will now be able to store the same percentage of HP loss, regardless of where they have been hit, including the citadel. This change is aimed at improving resilience against submarines and aircraft carriers. Moreover, this update emphasizes the lethality and risk of ship-launched torpedoes compared to more easily usable, but less damaging acoustic and aerial torpedoes. Please note that all information in the development blog is preliminary. Announced adjustments and features may change multiple times during testing. The final information will be published on the game's website. And that concludes right now for the recently developed blog for the closed test 14.7. Showing about that the mirror is gonna be a bug hole. Okay, so anyways, so I hope you enjoy about my read entirely for update 40.6 patch notes as well as the closed test 40.7. Okay, so let's get started into the house a few minutes later. So you see it's gonna be the okay, so that's enough. So I hope you enjoy about my contents of the patch notes as well as the closed test 14.7 sometimes though. So please sure to like my video, click subscribe and click the bell on the notification icon. So I hope you enjoy about my contents for that, and I will see you guys in my next video. So be prepared right now for the update 14.6 on the total preparation for the upcoming Dockyard event. So I will stay tuned to go over for a further notice. So thank you guys, and I have you see you guys in my next video.